Hi guys, welcome to the new Alex T. Jones Racing Podcast video. So today's one is going to be a bit different. We're going to be talking about a few Q&As, as I've got a few questions being asked so far, and I might get on to talking about some other things at some point, but I'm going to get in a few questions. And the first one is from Martin Snary, who I used to race against in Formula V all those years ago. It feels old saying that. And his question is, looking at what the different clubs have to offer in the way of a championship, and what championship fits the needs of a novice or more experienced driver, what will drivers look to when trying to look up the ladder or just have it fun as a hobby? So there's simple questions with that, because answers. So with the 750, it's tailored more for anyone in closed wheel, in a closed wheel championship, and they only have a few open wheel ones. So they've got Formula 1000 and Formula V as their only open wheel single seater ones. And with the BRCC, they still have a lot of closed wheel championships. They have an odd open wheel, but it's not as many either. But basically, I would say, because you're not only just tailored for those two clubs, you've got the MSVT, who run a lot of just club championships which aim at just one circuit in particular, and then the list just piles on and on. But yeah, there's differences between the clubs, because 750, as much as I loved it back then, the V was, you could actually talk to a lot of people, everyone was nice, and it's the same in the Mazda as well. You can talk to a lot. It's just as championships go, I would say, it's no disrespect to any championship, but this is definitely one of the fiercest championships I'm in, and you can sometimes not lose your head, but you can just be like so much into the championship, and you can see how competitive it is in the Mazda compared to V and with the 750. So in a sense, I would say the 750 is more tailored for anyone who's making it as a hobby. The BRCC, they do take people who take motorsport as a hobby. It's just, I would say, because of what they have on offer, they have like TCR as one of their major flagships now, and because they do British GT, so there's a lot of progression you can go up in. So I'd say you've definitely got more advancement with the BRCC. It's not to say you can't do it with the 750, it's just they don't have a major flagship championship in amongst a lot of people. It's also the same with the BARC, because they run British touring cars, and so you can have the flagships within certain different clubs. It's just, you've got more of a chance to go up the grid and different other championships. With the 750, it's just, with the others, you're looking to stay not in the same championship for a certain amount of years. So you, ideally, if you want to make it into British GT or like even the TCRs, you don't want to spend too long in another championship. So as an example for myself, I stayed in V for probably too long, in all honesty, because my progression stuttered from after 2016 a little bit, because I had a bit of coaching here and there, and then with the incidents happening. So yeah, it's different for everyone. It's just, ideally, you need some good karting experience behind you before you get into any major championships, because, I'd definitely say if you want to climb that ladder, you need to spend no longer than 3 seasons in a certain championship. That's if you've got the talent, the money, and everything else. It's just a lot in today's climate. Unless you have the good financial backing, or if you have family money, you won't really realistically be getting into any major championships, because you need that funding. It's not just relying off talent. There's some odd scholarship schemes out there, but if you think about it, because like the Mini is doing its own scholarship right now, who I managed to help another driver in the 750 to acknowledge that scholarship, because he's got the talent behind him. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to put all the pressure on him right now within that scholarship. But yes, there's scholarships out there. It's very few, and then there's a few. If you're going through the open wheel ladder, for example, you can try and get into a Formula One team academy, but in most instances, particularly with the Ferrari Driver Academy, you've got to pay to be in that academy and got to bring something. But the only issue now is, particularly with probably the best driver academy out there, which is the Red Bull one, you're seeing now, although you had a lot of talent going up, there's still some amazing talent there, because look at Liam Lawson right now. He deserves that Formula One seat as much as anyone right now. But at the moment, the Red Bull Driver Academy isn't helping as much, because I think it's just down to how many people have come out from there, and there's no seats at the moment, particularly for next year in Formula One. But yes, I hope that answers Martin's question. And then the next one we'll have a look at shall be one of my friends in Mazda at the moment, and he's near the front, called James Cousins. He's also won quite a few races in Mazda this year. But his question is, what in the off season, what's the goal in preparation for next season, if that's down to physically or mentally? So, very good question. I've upped my gym program a bit more now, and it's just trying to get weight down. It's also trying to, at the moment, I'm chasing sponsors like mad. I even sent, I think it was 20 sponsorship emails out on Tuesday, I think it was, because I had some time. But with work and that, it's hard, because there's a lot of normal drivers who have some good jobs right now, so they're not, unlike myself, they're not limited to like doing stuff throughout the evenings, for example. Whereas with my job, I work through evenings, so majority, if I don't have an off day, or if I work from a certain time, it's just trying to use that goal to hit up potential sponsors to see what can happen. But yes, apart from upping sponsorship, trying to get myself better physically as well, it's also, I said in the last video, I don't particularly look at mental side as much, because as I said, I don't think it's as much of a weakness as mine, because if I rarely get down now, And if I do get down, I do have some really good friends around me to talk to when I need it. So yeah, it's good in that point. But it's definitely, sponsorship is the major one in the moment. So the next one is from this one's quite funny because also in Mazda we have the operations / club, I think he's the club secretary in the moment, but he's called Luke Souch in the moment, and his question's quite funny. His standard question was, is Luke at the BICC a legend? Yes you are, Luke, yes you are. But yeah, there's so many good people in the BRC right now, because you haven't just got Luke, you got Charlotte White, who is our, I've forgotten the name, sorry, is the coordinator for our series. But then you've also got Greg, who's amazing. I remember at Donington, because it was so hot, and coming into the pits, and because there was so many cars in the assembly, and we couldn't, because I was one of the last cars through the pits, I couldn't actually get into the assembly. I was waiting for ages, and Greg came over and he was like, Alex, you can take your helmet off, it's fine, because it was so hot on that day. But yeah, they've got so many good members in there right now. Right, next one. Let's do Dun James. So, someone I've been racing in the club class this year as well, Eliza Seville. And she's asked, what was your favourite track to race at and why? So, for me, my favourite is always Donington. It's not just down to the track, because I do love the track, because Craners is the best corner and best enjoyment you can get from in the country. There's not many corners where you're just going flat out, going down the hill, and it's one of the most amazing corners. Definitely, not just in the UK. But I would say this year, even though Donington has been my favourite, Snetterton was amazing this year. Not just, if we take aside with what happened in the assembly area after sessions, because that was one of the most frantic ones I'd ever had for a long time. Because if anyone kept up, it was just like I was always going through a session where they wanted to check the tyres, and then it was like they wanted to check the ECU, and tyres, ECU, and they were also said my race numbers were too small, and I think that was an issue for Eliza herself as well at that weekend. But yeah, if we take that aside, because I love racing in the wet, and when I race in the wet at Croft in the V, I got my best position there, as I said in a previous video. But so yes, it's definitely, I just enjoy the wet, and I just need to take advantage of when I'm in the wet, because my best result was 17th overall, and to be able to do that in my third season in the series, I was quite happy with that. I know with a lot of the drivers on the grid, because they've got so much talent anyway, so I was just pleased to finish that race, because it was one of the worst rat races we'd had, because I just did a post on Instagram showing how wet it was into the first corner, and you couldn't see a thing. It was that bad. But yeah, And what made it worse was that I didn't realise that I had a heated windscreen, and then it was only after the race I got told, oh, it's that button there. It's like, oh, but it made it a lot easier after that. Next question is from Charles Boniface, who, if anyone doesn't know, I'm very good friends with Charles. We raced together in in 2018, I think it was. And his question, well, it's not just one question, it's what is your favourite motorsport moment? What is your favourite driver ever? Your favourite car? And if you could race in any era, which and why? And also your scariest moment in motorsport. And there's a few. I don't know if Charles wants me to say of my favourite motorsport moment in racing wise for myself or for anything else, but from a spectator point of view, my favourite was the 2013 season, because that was one of the closest ever Formula 1 seasons ever. But yeah, definitely. Race wise for myself, it has to be the V with the 6th place in the wet, definitely. And then yeah, but I've forgotten his question now. Yeah, my favourite car with a road car, you can call me crazy or whatever, but it's an Audi R8. Love Audi so much. And then race car wise, it has to be the Williams FW16, because that is being one of the most dominant cars ever. So if I could race in any era, oh, that's a tough one. I'd probably have to say in the 70s or 80s, because they were the golden years of motorsport, because you had the turbo aspirated cars as well. So they would have been awesome to drive, and then going against the likes of Stewart or anyone else in particular, that would have been amazing. And I know why he's asked for the scariest moment I've had, because he knows this, and it was my last season in 2020 in V, and it was the crash coming out of paddock, because that was one of the scariest ones I'd ever had, because I was coming out of paddock, and there was another competitor who I could see just coming out of paddock. I wasn't sure what was going on, and at that moment I had I think it was Rick Lanier who's on my side. You couldn't quite see in the mirror, but he was there, and if I tried to move more over to the right, I would have taken Rick out. And then it was the other competitor, Steve O. He without me knowing, his electrics had shut off, and he wasn't going as quick. And then all of a sudden it was a split decision to say what I could do, and I could have gone for a worse impact against Rick and made everyone else go into me, which would have been a lot worse. And the easiest option, even though I hated to do it, was going to the back of Steve, because it was an almost replica incident of Billy Monger losing his legs. It was that bad, going into the back of Steve. And in a race car, I've never been properly scared, but that was one where I was thinking, holy mother. Yeah, not not a good experience at all. And I just can't remember the direct hit, but I do remember getting out of the car and I was thinking, I feel a bit sore, and we went off to the medics and to the medical centre, and it was only after that I was thinking my neck feels sore, and then got to the next day and oh my word, I hurt everywhere. And then it was only a few days after it was stopped hurting, so it was quite decent just to get rid of that. But I think potentially I could have had whiplash because my neck did travel forward as soon as I hit Steve as well. But yeah, for the next question, also another Mazda person who I'm good friends with as well, Jack Sycamore. And he's actually asked me quite a few questions. But yeah, do I do any pre-race weekend prep such as sim, PlayStation work before going to a circuit, and watch last year's races on YouTube? So yes, I do, because at home you obviously see my bedroom in the background, and it's just like the laptop and the camera are on a desk right now, and I've got no space in here. I haven't got space anywhere else for a sim to go right now. So what I do is I watch the previous race videos, and apart from that I also go on YouTube and look at other people's, because racing lines, I'm pretty much accurate with the racing lines, because you see on the test day when I talk to the data guy Rob, he's always like, no issue with lines, it's just getting more confidence anyway. So but you've always got a different situation for anything you do. So a practice session compared to a quali session compared to a race is always going to be different, because in a practice you're just trying to focus on what the ideal lines are going to be, where's the grip going to be, where you're going to get that time. In quali, you just have to be on it to get the best lap time. But then, because of the way our session runs, we have 3 races and a quali session. So it's good value for money in a sense of, even though it's not the cheapest thing in the world still. But so even though every session's 20 minutes, you have to make the most of it. So you can get a ret session like at SNET this year. And apart from SNET, there wasn't really any other sessions where we had a full wet track. Most of it has been dry with like little spits here and there. So yeah, that is different. So yeah, it's YouTube and old pre-race videos. I don't really go on the PlayStation as much. You might see a few games behind. Oh wait, there we go. I don't really have although I do have a lot of racing games, I'm not always on there, so it's just trying to find the right time. Anyway, here's other question is, if you could participate in any particular motorsport event anywhere in the world, what would it be? Oh, so there's quite a few, in all honesty, but the main even though I'd love to do Le Mans, that's always the goal, to get to Le Mans, but money is the major issue. There's one which is I do want to do, because I do want to get back into single seaters again at some point, and I would like to be in the Formula V 60th. Yeah, the 60th, yeah, because I did the 50th a few years ago. And just need to try and find a team for that one, which I can do. But anyway, I know a few people know me in the Formula Ford paddock, and for a few years I've been trying to do the Walter Hayes Trophy for a good few years, because that is probably one of the best Formula Ford events of the year, and I think it's the best in the UK, definitely. And I do want to do it, definitely. Although, also within GTs, I would love to do Bathurst. That'd be amazing to do, definitely. Yeah. So that is all the questions so far, which I've got. But in the meantime, I shall also say, and amongst a few words, my future aspirations are definitely not to stay with Mazda for as long as I did in V. I do want to try and climb that ladder, but money is definitely an issue right now. So even for next season, I'm having to go through the sponsors right now. Anyway, I'd definitely say with the money side, if I can get a few more sponsors for next season, who knows? Because there's definitely some events which, apart from Mazda, which do take my fancy for next year. We'll just have to see what we can do with the money, definitely. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully chat to you soon. Have a good night.